Alrighty, I'm pretty bored. My name is Ruckus,
I'm Luker.
and we got bored. This is Ruckus and Luker got bored. Somebody really pissed me off the other day. I was playing Grand Theft Auto online. And it's just, I usually play in a private server just because I don't want to deal with other people. But I was kind of like trying to like engage people, like, hey, do some missions. And every server I jumped into, there was somebody hacking the game and just ruining the time for everyone, just giving them so much fucking grief.
Oh, man. You said that. So my first foray into online gaming really was the OG Diablo in like 99, 2000, right? So the game had been out for a little while at that point, but it was still surprisingly popular. I was one of those guys. Like I was just getting into computers, really. I was like 14. We got our first proper computer at the house, and I was like, oh, let me look up things about Diablo, and trainers and hacks and shit were a big thing with that. And they had no fucking warden. It never even occurred to me that I could get banned. Like I was that new to the whole thing. The whole thing was new, really. You could get swords that would just like kill everyone in the screen, and it had multiplayer games that you join. It was glorious. And to top it all off, you got to collect ears whenever you killed another player. So it didn't even look at you.
Yeah, harvesting trophies is a grim but great hobby.
Yeah. Oh man, I was such a shithead too. I don't really do that no more.
Yeah, I've recently gotten into trolling online, and I got to say, I don't like the person I've become.
So, all right. Speaking of Blizzard games and epic online trolls, though, I just heard this the other day, and it's such an amazing story. All right. So you're at least familiar with World of Warcraft, right?
I am, yeah. I played like a little bit when Draenor came out, maybe like 6 months, and haven't played since.
So in 2019, they relaunched, they did Classic WoW, which was a relaunch of the original game. Mm-hmm. And one thing about the original game, it's awesome, but it is time consuming, right? Like, if I remember correctly, back when I was playing my first character, which granted, it's a lot faster these days because people have figured out more about the game, but it was like 7 days played for me to hit the level cap. And that's just to hit the level cap. And a lot of people would make the argument that that's when the game begins, because then you start doing all your in-game dungeons and getting into raiding. Anyways, there's this after that had been around for a little bit, people are looking for, a new challenge with it. So it started as like a community run thing. They were doing what they were calling hardcore WoW, which was get as far as you can in the game without dying. It's much akin to like ARPGs generally having a hardcore mode where if you die, death is permanent. You lose that character.
Yeah. Baldur's Gate has honor mode.
Mm-hmm. Diablo and like Path of Exile and shit like that have it too. Generally, in that you can move over to softcore, but whatever. That's not the point here. So they were doing it as like a community thing, and it was gaining some traction. So Blizzard was like, "All right, fuck it," and they made a server for it, and a whole bunch of people joined up. Some people made it very far. For instance, this one guild named HC Elite makes it to the Four Horsemen fight, which is like there's like maybe 3 bosses left in the game, basically.
So, basically, at this point, everything is end game content, but this is end game content.
Yeah, like this is, so this is way into it. Like the way WoW does is like you hit 60 and then you start moving through raid tiers. There's tier 1, tier 2, and then tier 3. This is tier 3 almost at the end. Basically, KT, doesn't matter what that means, is the final boss, and this is like 2 bosses before that. So this guild gets there, and they've managed to get all the way to the Four Horsemen with very few deaths. They have a full 40-man raid of people. They're doing the Four Horsemen. And this is
say real quick, I already feel bad for the people who this happened to. I don't even know what's going to happen yet. Yeah, but it's just like I just know how bad this is going to go for them.
So I say all that just to set the scale, to understand that this is hundreds upon hundreds of hours. Probably some of them were in the thousands, but like this is playing efficiently. This is 300-400 hours to get here that you've invested in this game. That's 10 working weeks minimum. Like, and again, most of them probably more than that. This dude by the name of Tiny Violin gets in and they make him one of the tanks. And the way you do this fight, it's complicated for back in the day. It's not super complicated, but basically there's 4 horsemen and a tank picks up each one and you take them to 4 different corners of the room. Like, and that's just how you do it. But one of them in particular has like a beam that if he hits somebody like out in the party, it just chains. And every time it chains, it does more damage. This guy was tanking that guy and just turned him around and ran him back over to the bulk of the party. Killed, I think, 36 out of the 40 of them.
Oh my
is dead. And he was saying that, he took him to the wrong corner. It was an accident. But like, he was streaming it and you can very clearly see him not even try to take it to the other corner. He just runs it into the group so it'll do it and kill everybody. And it's like, oh man, that sucks. Like, here's the thing. If it happened to me, I would be very angry, but I would never play this version of the game to begin with for several reasons. But one of them is people doing shit like that. Like, that's because people can easily grief you like that. They can do it way earlier in the game. The fact that he waited till this far to do it is just wow.
Yeah, man. I mean, that, and like how he did it while like, I could see like maybe if like this was like a secret stream or anything, like nobody knew and he's like, planning for it, like entertaining on what he's going to do and then doing it. But this guy just threw all of that time away and everyone else's. Like the invasive thoughts just won that day.
So, yep, they did. So he does that. And I think he starts streaming some other stuff or whatever. He gained a bunch of subs on Twitch. 3 months later, he randomly goes live on Twitch. They are in the second to last raid. It's called AQ40. They're at the boss Cthulhu. Same guild. He has another character. Some people were saying he bought it, maybe he leveled it up. I don't know. This isn't quite as far. They maybe only have 200 to 300 hours in these characters. Final boss, Cthulhu. He's like an Eldritch-inspired horror. Has basically the exact same move. They're all lined up outside of the boss room, about to go in, and this dude fucking runs over, aggroes, and then runs back into the party, kills like 16 of them.
What an asshole.
He is. He absolutely is. Like, he sucks. He fucked up a lot of people's good time. He wasted thousands of hours of people's time. But you kind of got to respect the hustle on it. Like,
oh, yeah. I definitely admire the dedication to the game. But also,
this one, he lived. He did that and he lived.
Oh, that's...
which is even funnier. But yeah, same guild. Some of the same
somebody.
People. Like, oh man, I would be so fucking mad. Like, that would ruin the game for me completely. Like, yeah, that man. Like, I don't think he should be applauded, but there's a certain amount of respect he deserves. Not necessarily good, but
he's not. I mean, there's a reason infamous is a word.
Exactly. Let's say infamy. Then we can go with that. Like,
yeah, like I mean. Dude's a legend, but at what cost?
Yeah.
All of his friends, probably. Actually, no. I mean, these were all strangers, really. It wasn't,
Yeah.
Obviously, they weren't relationships that meant anything to him because... So, man, if you did that to me, I don't care how... Fuck, man, I'd be pissed. I probably would give up on our friendship, but fuck, I'd be pissed.
I wouldn't play games with you anymore. Yeah, that's... And like, so the second character, I don't know. Who knows? They said he bought it, which he may have. The first one, though, the people in Discord, like from other streams, like people that were in it, because several people were streaming this fight, and like the Discord chat in is like, he fucking leveled up with them and did all these other raids and was helpful, and they were all like, we were friends. And then he pulled that shit.
Because he started like. Presumably, he went through leveling up with the guild through the whole thing. So, like, people starting new characters and just going up with him. So it's like, Jesus Christ, I just.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, man.
I guess he spent so much time just thinking about, like, whether he could do it that he never really stopped to think about whether he should.
So, like...
Sorry.
Here's the thing. I doubt that he planned this out from day one. Like, I think... it occurred to him at some point, probably when they started getting into Nax, that it's something he could do. And he was like, oh, this will be funny. This will be fucking funny. I feel like that's what happened.
Look, all the time when I'm playing video games with my little brother, it's just us playing on a private server, I will just shoot a grenade launcher at his car while he's, hitting an ATM in Grand Theft Auto, or just,
oh yeah.
And if we're not squatted up, I'll just be across the map and I'll hit him with a sniper rifle from forever away.
Absolutely. I 100% do shit like that too. Yeah.
But that's one-on-one, it's going to happen. It's just you and a buddy dicking around.
Yeah.
There's no stakes like, I don't know, wasting 1,000 hours of somebody's life.
Exactly. And like, especially if you're just a free roaming, like open world fucking around. Like if he was on a mission getting towards the end and you did that shit, I would be annoyed. Actually, I don't know how missions work in that, but like if he had invested any amount of time into what he was doing and you fucked it up,
yeah,
but
yeah, well, because also in Grand Theft Auto, it's like if I kill my little brother, he doesn't lose that car forever. Like he may have to, file an in-game insurance claim, which is a real fucking thing that costs him $1,000 in-game, which you can just get from robbing a convenience store. Like it's nothing. But it all exists, but it's super simple. It's like I'm not costing him anything to do this.
Yeah,
I mean, like time is money. I mean, as much as you hate to hear a cliche like that, that was a serious investment that dude fucked up.
Yep.
I mean, it paid off for him. He got new Twitch streamers and probably came.
Oh yeah, he got several subs out of it both times. I was watching another streamer that was talking about it, and he said he probably made like $3,000 off of subs, even if they only stuck around for 1 month. And I'm like, okay, I mean, for a side hustle,
yeah,
it's not great money, but it's all right.
One of the first times I ever heard the term griefing, I was working at GameStop at the time, and I didn't play online games or anything, but my cousin played Minecraft. So I came to work the next day and told this story, and so I was like, yeah, man, fucking griefers are the worst. I was like, oh, so he was playing Minecraft, and he's just a sweet, nice kid. Like, he's just a nice kid. So this rando was playing with him, and they were playing on my cousin's home server, so that when my cousin got off the computer, the server would close. So he's about to get off, and this kid's like, hey, listen, somebody just screwed up everything for me, ruined my place, and your place is really nice. Can I just sit here and play for a while? And Calvin's like, yeah. I shouldn't have said his name. So my cousin's like, yeah, I'm just going to go have dinner. I'll be back soon, and we'll keep playing. So so my cousin goes, we all have dinner. I'm living with him at the time. And then he goes back into his room, and I just hear him scream. I was like, oh my God, this 11-year-old boy just has, like, that's anguish and that's pain. This dude just destroyed everything that he had built. My cousin came back, and his entire Minecraft world, I don't play Minecraft, so I don't know, server, whatever. I guess world, right? Anyway,
I have no idea.
It's just wherever his base was, just a crater. And the kid shouldn't know loss like that at that age, man.
Yeah. And man, that's okay. So look, my friends all got into Minecraft when we were like almost 30, possibly over 30. I don't know. It wasn't that long ago that all my friends got into Minecraft. I did not, but all of them did. If that happened to one of them, I would just be like, bro, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But an 11-year-old, man, like if it happened to one of the kids, or like, and the dude that did it was probably 30, like, man, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
That's shit. Like, look, I learned how to play games with people from my grandma. My grandma taught me how to play poker. And I don't know about your grandma and anyone's listening grandma, but their grandma might have been like, oh, we'll just let him win. Gertrude did not play that fucking game. She would cheat you. Not only would she not let me win, she would actively cheat me. And you know what? It taught me some very important lessons. So I don't believe in letting kids win either, but I'm not going to actively ruin their fun.
I never caught her cheating, but my grandma would hold no reservations about just burying your ass in a game, whatever game it was. And she's all the while. I mean, like, this is going to sound like I'm maybe saying a negative thing about my grandmother, but I say it with all the respect, just the image of her just sitting there shuffling those cards with a bottle of Maker's Mark and a pack of Parliaments. And she had one of those like leather bags with a metal clasp on it that you put your cigarettes into.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, just an ashtray. That after she died, I actually took that ashtray. I had that ashtray in my house for quite a few years. But an ashtray just full of lipstick saturated cigarette butts. And we had some fun.
My grandma didn't smoke, didn't drink, nothing like that. She was just old Southern meme.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was not that classical old Southern lady. She was the other one.
Mm-hmm.
That's much lesser known, but she was born in rural Alabama in 1920. She came of age during the fucking Depression. All right?
Yeah, it'll do it.
Yeah, like she was a tough old bird.
You
But,
never get to see a lot of justice against these griefers in these games, though.
You really don't. I think that dude got banned. I think someone said that, but so I mean, make another fucking account, like, you know.
Yeah. There was a guy I was reading. I think it was Guild Wars 2. I don't know all the details of the story, but I know that he had been cheating and causing everyone a really bad time for a while. So what the devs did is they found him while he was playing, and they took over his character. So he just watched while all of this was happening, and they gave away all of his gear, and or deleted it, something like that. I don't know where they got to other people. Then they stripped all of his gear off, so he's, in his underwear, climbed to the top, the highest tower in the game, and then just plummet to his death, and then banned him.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's on YouTube, I think. You can find the footage.
Yeah, WoW's devs or mods used to be like that. Like, they would actually come in the game and do shit. Like, it was crazy back in the day. Like, if you had a problem, they called them GMs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you had a problem, you put in a ticket and wait a little while, and like, they would send you an RP whisper. I remember I had to do it one time, and it would come in and be like, the sky is open and a epically clad figure descends before you, or whatever. Like, it would be an emote type deal. And then they would be like, hi, I am GM Archibald. How may I be of service? And shit like that. Like, it was, and man, they'd come in and do shit. Like, there's several videos on YouTube of this. Like, there's one time they called them during a raid, and they just came in and spawned a giant ass chicken. And it was like that. Like, it was like they would do shit like that while they were working behind the scenes to like keep people. It was really cool. And now they're all over to like just standard service desk type shit, and they just like it's more efficient, because I mean, you'd have to wait an hour, 2 hours sometimes back then. Now they'll answer your requests a lot faster, but
they should still have like they should still have like 6 dudes doing it the old school way. And like, you just never know whether your customer service request is going to be a fantastic event or just a standard thing.
That would be really cool. And like, man, they would so they had actual in-game avatars, like actual characters. They were just, ultra bosses or whatever.
Yeah.
But they could turn themselves invisible. So like, they would enter like your raid instance and just be sitting there watching you do shit. Just shit like that was really cool.
It's pretty dope. Voyeuristic thrill is one of them as well, I'm sure.
Yeah. But one of my, so talking about griefers and mods, and how sometimes the mods are the griefers. Final Fantasy, it was either 11 or 14. I can't remember which one. Maybe it was EverQuest. Actually, I think it was EverQuest. Anyways, one of those. It was either EverQuest or one of the Final Fantasy games. They put in a dragon that was attackable, but it was meant to be unkillable. Just like numerically, they gave it way too high defense, way too many hit points, or whatever. But they forgot that the internet is the internet. So, like, 4 raid teams or something, like 100 to 200 people, attack this thing for like 16 hours. They get it down to like 10%. And mysteriously, it despawns and the servers reset.
Oh,
yep. And whichever game it was, the devs never admitted that they did it, but they definitely fucking did it. Because like, it was never supposed to be killable. Like, this was, and it didn't even have a loot table. Like, because they didn't think anybody would ever be able to kill it. And then, of course, never underestimate an MMO community. Like, just they will fucking do shit like that all the time. There was one at Ultima Online. They used to do like big RP events, but for the NPCs, like, mods would actually get in and control them. And like, the king came out to address people one day, and somehow his invulnerability, whatever they had, didn't get turned on or got turned off or something, and someone figured out he was targetable and fucking killed him. Dude, MMOs will never be fun like that again. Like, they take too many precautions now. Like, that was what made MMOs in like the late 90s and the early 2000s awesome because random shit like that could happen.
Yeah, it's almost like there's too much quality control.
Yeah. Like
I was
now-
actually thinking about this with booze the other day. Like, they're just bottling moonshine or calling it moonshine and selling it. It's like, man, that's not the spirit of moonshine. It's just wrong. Like blackberry moonshine cocktails, like, come on. Like, I drank real, my first time ever drinking, I drank real Kentucky moonshine on an empty stomach. Like, come on, have some integrity.
Yeah. I don't like that they bottle it up and market it like that. I think that's stupid because it's not what moonshine is. But also, anyone who's ever been like, "Oh, you've never had real moonshine," doesn't understand what moonshine is either. Because there's no there's not a recipe for moonshine.
Oh no, not at all.
It's just bootleg hooch that you buy out of the back of a fucking 88 Lumina. That's
when I say real Kentucky moonshine, I mean her uncle made it in a bathtub.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I know.
Oh yeah, they have
artisanal
artisanal moonshine.
Yeah, whiskey styles be like, that's not real moonshine. Real moonshine's made this way. No, it isn't.
Technically, to be real moonshine, it has to be made on the dark side of the moon.
I think, that's it. But no, there's no real moonshine recipe. It can be made from fucking potatoes. It can be made from fucking corn. It's usually corn, but no, because moonshine doesn't have a definition.
Yeah, moonshine really just means, just homemade liquor.
Yeah.
I bet you it's got something to do with like being sneaky and making it at night by the light of moonshine. I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah, I'm sure something like that is how it came to be, or that they delivered at night. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that shit annoys me.
Oh, the term moonshine comes from the idea that it was made and distributed at night under the cover of darkness and lit by the moon. Yeah. So both of our things, and that's also where NASCAR came from too.
Oh yeah, that one is true. Like that's 100% how that shit got started. The movie Lawless has a pretty good depiction of that.
I love that movie.
In fact, like the car, if you remember the car that he gets, it's like a 30-something Ford. Mm-hmm. I forget what one it is exactly.
I don't remember the specifics, but I remember the car.
Yeah, but it was famous. Like it basically got popular strictly for moonshiners because it had like I forget what size, but it had a V8. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the first production cars that had a V8, and it could just when I say haul ass, it probably had a top speed of like 80 miles an hour, but compared to everything else, compared to everything else at the time, it could just take off and fucking leave them. So you could outrun all the cops.
Yeah. And now that everyone's driving the same car, they're like, oh, well, like now we'll just race these cars like stock from the factory. Like it's just such a natural, beautiful formation. And then you get guys like Dick Trickle. I just love the name.
Yeah. So I knew that's who you were going to mention when you sent me that earlier. Here's the thing. Here's why I even know that he's a person. Back in the day, okay, he wasn't a great racer. Like I think he's got a couple of first place finishes, but like he's not your Dale Earnhardt, your Tony Stewart, your Jeff Gordon. But ESPN, when they were covering a race, they'd be like, all right, in the Daytona 500 today, Jeff Gordon finished first, Dale Earnhardt finished second, Tony Stewart finished third, and Dick Trickle finished 32nd.
They would just have to say his name, no matter how far back in the pack he was.
Yep. Like they would do that shit. Yeah, it's on YouTube. You can look it up. Somebody didn't believe me one time, and I was like, bullshit, I know I saw this.
So I was at the infield at the Dover Downs, I think 400. And we were staying with my dad's friend, had like an RV down there. And I saw so many shirts and flags that said NASCAR makes my dick trickle.
That's awesome. Despite living less than an hour and a half from Talladega, I have never been to a NASCAR race.
I've been to Dover like twice, and I went to the Daytona 500 once, and that was a lot of fun. The Daytona 500. I did get sunburned so bad on my face that it like burned a hole in my face that was there for 6 months. Because it was cloudy, so I didn't put sunscreen on. But
oh yeah, that'll get you every time.
Well, no, that happened to me 10 years ago. No, about 8 years, whatever. It was almost a decade ago, but I didn't go in the water, so I didn't put sunscreen on, but I'm laying on the beach with my legs out, and I got sunburned because like my signal to put sunscreen on is I take my shirt off. Mm-hmm. Like it's just sort of, when you have ADD, you have rituals. And so I got sunburn on my leg so bad that when it peeled, the dead skin was so thick that when I pulled it off, I could have written on it without damaging it. Yeah. Like I went to the doctor, and I was actually going to the doctor because I had a cold the same week. I'm like, I was looking for like a strong cold medicine or whatever. But she walks in and looks at my ankles and goes, "Oh yeah, you need something for that burn." And I was like, "No, I need cold medicine." She's like, "Okay, well here, take this prescription." And even with my insurance, that was $175 they wanted for that burn cream.
Oof. Wow. That I don't know if they gave him burn cream or not. The boy had to go to the doctor a little while back because he had a really bad sunburn. They're taking him to the doc in a box, and they I think they gave him some sunscreen or something. It wasn't nowhere near that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you can get stuff like aloe and whatever, but this was like she wanted me to get this like compounded spray that I actually had to go and they had to make at a special pharmacy for me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I got aloe and whatever. I did get icy hot on a sunburn though one time. That was the worst thing I've ever. No, it's not the worst thing I've ever felt, but it was up there.
I've been pretty fortunate in that regard, despite being rather white. I will burn, but I've never gotten burned that bad. Not like these kids do. And Ellie, good God, they just roast.
One time we went down to Florida to visit my dad, and we were out on the boat, and my brother goes to spray like the spray on stuff on behind me, and he goes, tss, tss, tss. And I'm like, okay, cool, feels good, I assume. But he was so close when he sprayed it that it didn't spread out. So there were just lines on my back of white and then lines on my back of red, because where the sunscreen got, it was thick, so no sun got through it. But then it was just alternating between just white flesh, red flesh, white flesh, red flesh. It hurt so bad.
Ooh, that's rough.
Like, it almost would have been better if the entire back were burnt, because it was like it moved differently.
I know what you mean. Yeah, that's just a weird way to say it. I get what you're saying.
All right. Well, I guess on that note, with trying to stick to a shorter format to make it easier to edit and maybe less daunting for you to try to listen to. So I think with that end, we're going to come to our fat guy pro tip, which is, get a VR headset. It's good for cardio. I actually found myself in the hospital, couldn't walk, but they were giving me exercise through VR headsets, and it was a lot of fun. So with that said, yeah, get a VR headset for cardio, and have a great night.